Jai Shriman Narayan. Jai Shriman Narayan. Jai Shriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome Mother Lakshmi on this, the third day, in her own form at the Sri Narayan Dham. And I welcome those of you that are physically present at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse on YouTube and the various groups that it posted in from around the world subsequently. Mother Lakshmi, in these 3 days, is duty bound to maintain our well-being. She is duty bound to those of us that have allowed her in a form as Maha Kali to annihilate the enemies that were residing within us in the form of lust, anger, pride, hatred, greed, envy, and jealousy. And subsequent to this annihilation, now Mother Lakshmi is duty bound to maintain us. In ignorance, and when we have been captivated by these vices, by these enemies, then there is no maintenance by Mother Lakshmi herself. We are maintained through the cosmic administrators. We are maintained through the cosmic administration or administrators, and we receive pro rata as per our previous karmic spreadsheet. And it is only after the annihilation of the vices or enemies that have been resident within us, it is only after this annihilation can Mother Lakshmi offer to maintain us. She would not maintain us as long as we are acquainted with our vices in the form of lust, anger, pride, envy, jealousy, greed. In these dimensions, we may get wealthy, we may be healthy, and we may be prosperous. And all of these benefications are allotted to us by the cosmic administrators as per our previous karmas. As per our previous karmas. When we choose to surrender to Lord Narayan, it is only then that Mother Lakshmi intervenes and takes over our welfare, our maintenance, and our prosperities. We are no longer dictated to in terms of our prosperity by our previous karma. Mother Lakshmi unleashes her love for all the lost souls that were covered in ignorance due to previous karmas. And on this day, you here physically and those that's listening to this discourse, it is on this day and throughout these 9 days that we should commit ourselves in this period of Navaratri to start our spiritual journey. So there are 4 seasonal dimension or time spans within the cycle of creation. And the first time span is Sat Yug, and in Sat Yug 100% devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present. The second time cycle, mic is picking up the echo. The second time span is called Treta Yug, and in this dimension 75% of man has devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the third season, called Dwapara Yug, only 50% of man has devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this, the season in which we are currently embracing, in this season, only 25% of mankind embraces devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it is for this reason that various philosophies, conflicting philosophies, contradicting philosophies, all types of gurus take the birth in Kali Yug. Gurus that will take you away from devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To fulfill this criteria of only 25% having devotion to God, then this is the master plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And this is why I read you a Vedic injunction that all these contradicting philosophies, these philosophies that take you away from God, is a plan by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, so that the criteria of Kali Yug can be prevalent. And in this way, I have stated that we are not making a mockery of these other philosophies, neither are we teaching you hatred for gurus who are involved in philosophies of taking you away from God. For they have a job to do. This job is from the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And ultimately, when you trace all of these gurus, they are Vaishnavites at heart. They are all Vaishnavites at heart. However, to fulfill the criteria of Kali Yug, to make 75% of the people ignorant in the devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then it is necessary to propagate these false philosophies. So Sanatana Dharma is unique. It is beautiful, it is absolute, and it contains all the answers. And this is why those that are following the Abrahamic religions, they say Sanatana Dharma is confusing. Because in the Abrahamic religion, they only follow prescription. It is a prescriptive following as the karma kanda of the Vedas. The first half of the Vedas are prescriptive. They teach you rituals, and in performing your rituals, you forget the aim and significance of the ritual so performed. And I've given you many examples. If I have to do a havan here today, then you would throw in the havan samagri as per your desire. This camera woman might want a car so that she can come to satsang as she pleases the whole day and harass the Guru. So when she is throwing the havan samagri, her throwing of the havan samagri in the fire would be to fulfill a particular need or desire of her. Please, Lord Narayan, I'm offering this havan samagri. I want a car tomorrow so I can harass Acharya Sham Ramanuj continuously. Okay? Now that significance of that havan would be to purify the atmosphere, to kill the germs, to remove the flies, and to bring a neutral atmosphere into this hall or in this ashram. But our camera woman, she would have her own agendas. And this agenda is called ignorance. And this ignorance will assist the Supreme Personality of Godhead in containing the 75% of Kali Yug to be non-devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Instead of our camera woman throwing the havan samagri in the fire and saying, Lord Narayan, I love you. Okay? That would be now devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay? So Sanatana Dharma is unique, it is absolute, there is absolutely no confusion or contradiction. It's a perfect plan by the absolute perfectionist, Lord Sriman Narayan. All of you understand? All of you understand. And it is for this reason that this type of satsang will only have 25% of following. 25% of following in all categories. That means from those of you that are seated here today, only 25% of you yourself will be in sync with what the Guru is teaching. You understand? Only 25%. And then from 25% of your family, from 25% of society, right now, simultaneously, at this current point in time, within a radius of 5 kilometers around me, halls are full. Halls are full. They have not interpreted the Devi Mahatmya for its spirituality. They have interpreted the Devi Mahatmya for rituals. All of you understand? And rituals mean ignorance. Ritual means keeping you in ignorance. It means arresting you in ignorance. So if 25% of you are here, the 75% right round is busy throwing their Havan Samagri and getting more entrapped in ignorance. Getting more deeper in ignorance as per their own karma of a previous lifetime and synthesize with the conditions of Kali Yug. Previous lifetime balance sheet synthesized with the conditions of Kali Yug. For in Kali Yug, only 25% of mankind will devote themselves to God. Alright? All of you understand up until this point. And we stated that the Sri Narayan Dham is currently expounding Vedanta in its purest form to the world. It's currently expounding Vedanta to the purest form to the world, and we read from verse 15, chapter 15, that Lord Sri Krishna says himself, and we read this verse from an Advaita Guru and a Dvaita Guru and a neutral Guru. And all these three Gurus stated in chapter 15, verse 15, that Lord Sri Krishna is the compiler of Vedanta himself. All of you understand? So all that the Guru has stated up until this point, the Guru needs now to confirm with corroborating evidence from Lord Sri Krishna himself, because these satsangs are run parallel with the Vedic injunctions by the compiler, Lord Sri Krishna, who states in verse 15, chapter 15, that I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. All of you understand? Each and every one you present here understand? So we go to chapter 9, verse 20. Chapter 9, verse 20 of the Sri Ramanuja Gita Bhasya. And this verse is translated as follows: those who are versed in the three Vedas, being purified from sin by drinking the Soma juice, pray for the passage to heaven and worship me by sacrifices, reaching the holy realm of the chief of God, they enjoy in celestial pleasures of the gods. So Lord Sri Krishna is saying that those that follow the ritualistic portion of the Vedas, those who follow the ritualistic portions of the Vedas through sacrifice, and just remember, sacrifice does not necessarily mean cutting the murder of an animal. Sacrifice does not mean the murder of an animal. Sacrifice means sacrificing your time, like what you have done. You are all in sacrifice at the moment. You understand? Dana, can you believe it? You are in sacrifice without murdering a chicken or a goat. Some people also murder swines or pigs. Okay? So you are at the moment performing sacrifice without killing any entity, because you have sacrificed your time from your beautiful wife and children. You have sacrificed your money because it cost you fuel to get here, and you have sacrificed anything else you sacrificed, Dana? Yes, you have killed your ignorance. You have sacrificed your ignorance. The only sacrifice you are allowed to kill in spirituality, Strini, the only thing the Guru wants you to murder is ignorance. Kill your ignorance. Use Maha Kali with all her 10 hands. Sita is enjoying this. And murder your ignorance to shreds. Murder your ignorance to shreds. Only sacrifice ignorance in death, not an animal. No chickens, no fowls, no roosters, no pigs, no goats, and no sheep. I don't know. Any other things murdered Sita? Okay? All of you understand? Understood? Only sacrifice is ignorance, time, money, family time, desire time, and money. That's the only sacrifice that is spoken of. And Lord Sri Krishna says that if you sacrifice all of these things and worship Lord Indra, who is the king of the heavens, you will attain heaven after death. You will attain heaven. How many of you want to go to heaven? Put your hands up. Hands up, hands up, hands up. Okay. Let's see what verse 21 says about heaven. Having enjoyed the special world of heaven, they return to the world of mortals when their merit is exhausted. Thus, those who follow the Vedic rituals and are drawn by desires come and go. Anita, sorry. The camera woman also wanted to go to heaven. But Lord Sri Krishna said that you may perform all of your sacrifices, you may worship the Devis and Devtas. No problem. No problem. But if you worship the Devis and Devtas, as 75% of people around me are doing now, in the other satsangs, they will go to heaven. Heaven is still in the material universe. Camera woman. Heaven is still where? In the material universe. And when your merits are finished, you fall back to earth and hold the camera again and again and again. You'll be a lifelong camera woman. Alright? Unless that's what she wants to do. Verse 22, there are those who, excluding all else, think of me and worship me, aspiring after eternal union with me. Their prosperity and welfare are looked after by me. So this is what I was trying to explain to you, that those, even though it's Navaratri and this is the 3 days of Mother Lakshmi, if you are following the ritualistic path, then there is no prosperity to you by Mother Lakshmi, for whose wife is Mother Lakshmi? Whose consort is Mother Lakshmi? Lord Narayan. And Lord Narayan states in verse 22, there are those who, excluding all else, think of me and worship me, aspiring eternal union with me. Their prosperity and welfare are looked after by me. Who would he instruct to maintain you and keep you prosperous so that you can attain him? Who will he instruct? He will instruct Mother Lakshmi. All of you understand? So there's no loss in the game of God. There's no loss in God's divine Leela. You worship the Devis and Devtas, you'll go to heaven. When your merits are finished, you'll come back to earth. That residual karma that was with you will determine when you come back to earth which family, which country, which circumstance, and how distant from God you will be. All of you understand? Sanatana Dharma is a perfect science. There is nothing more perfect than Sanatana Dharma itself. There is nothing more perfect and absolute than Sanatana Dharma itself. All of you understand? So, by choice and merit, you are here today. By choice and merits, those are in other satsangs where other types of sacrifices are taking place. You will fulfill one dimension of the criteria of Kali Yug, and they will fulfill another dimension of the criteria of Kali Yug. Holistically, when you look in from the top, there are no enemies. There's no us and them. We are here, they are there. We are all fulfilling, we knowingly and they unknowingly, the great plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You understand? And this is why in Sanatana Dharma we state that love and compassion is a very, very important criteria. Love and compassion is the founding stone of Sanatana Dharma. However, in our pursuance of teaching you absolute Vedanta, We will do it with love and compassion all the time, but those on the other side might be impelled to become hostile towards us, because you would have experienced in life that those on the righteous path or extreme righteous path have few associates and affiliates. And this is another design of Kali Yug. So if we are on the absolute righteous path, we'll only have 25%, because this is the computation for Kali Yug. Only 25% will be righteous. 75% will be unrighteous. All of you understand? So those are unrighteous due to the ignorance and the previous karmas. We have no right to judge. We have no right to judge. All we can do is continue to purify our own existence up until we reach our supreme destination. Okay? I just want to follow up maybe one or two more verses. Verse 23, even those who are devoted to other divinities with faith in the heart worship me alone, O Arjuna, though not as sanctioned by the Shastras. Even those who are devoted to other divinities with faith in the heart worships me alone, Arjuna, though not as sanctioned by the Shastras. And this concludes that Lord Sri Krishna is expounding Vishishtadvaita. How do we come to this conclusion? How do we come to this conclusion? Because in other parts of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna showed that all the Devis and Devtas exist in his form. And he exists in the soul of every living entity. He does not live next to the soul, he lives in the soul. And this is called Vishishtadvaita. So if you worship Lord Indra, if you worship Mother Kali, if you worship Mother Durga, if you worship Lord Hanuman, within the souls of all these divinities is whom? Is whom? Lord Narayan. And in the Upanishads, Lord Narayan states that after he enters these living entities, it is then only that they get name and form. All these living entities live in a uniform consciousness without any distinction. Only at creation and only after Lord Narayan enters every living entity, then only do these living entities get name and form. You understand? So every name and form belongs to who? Lord Narayan. Without Lord Narayan entering these living entities, there would be no name and no form. Based on that, this verse, based on that, Vishishtadvaita, based that only name and form is derived after Lord Narayan entering the living entities, that although you worshipping Indra, although you worshipping Durga, although you worshipping Maha Kali, you are in essence worshipping Lord Narayan. You are in essence worshipping Lord Narayan, for Lord Narayan is the creator of names and forms. So ultimately, the name Mother Durga will be Lord Narayan, and the form Mother Durga will be Lord Narayan, for Lord Narayan is the name and form of all living entities. Do you understand? Okay, and let's see what the next verse is saying. Verse 24. For I am the only enjoyer and the only Lord of all sacrifices. They do not recognize me in my true nature, hence they fall. Hence they fall. Okay, self-explanatory after this name and form explanation I gave to you. Verse 25, devotee of gods go to the gods. The mains worshippers go to the mains. The worshippers of the Bhutas go to the Bhutas, and those who worship me come to me. You understand? So there are different dimensions in these universes. Different dimension. The dimension immediately above us is the dimension of ghosts. And above the dimension of ghosts is the dimension of Pitars, and above the dimension of Pitars is the dimension of gods. There's a difference between the Lord and gods. Gods can be many. The Lord is one. Do you understand? 33 million gods, one Lord. All of you understand? Many gods, one Lord. And that one Lord is Lord Sriman Narayan. All of you understand? So, again, this is not what the Guru is saying. This is not a cult. I have been, Venita, accused of having a following of cult. This is a cult following. Alright? This is not a cult. This is a following of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sriman Narayan's instructions. My job in this Kali Yug is to assist the Supreme Personality of Godhead to configure humankind in my lifetime to attain that 25% in Kali Yug. All of you understand? So my job is to instill devotion in the hearts of devotees that's following this institution, to configure and synthesize that formulation of Kali Yug that states 25% of people will be devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is not a cult, it's an instruction from God. He has placed me in this path. You understand? So my part is to allot you in the 25% of Kali Yug. My job is to take you and to allot you in the 25% of Kali Yug. And let's see if there's any more relevant verses. Okay? Rishi, this verse is for you and your daughter that's present here today. Whoever offers me with true devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or some water. I accept these offerings made with devotion by him who is of pure heart. You see, when you go home, explain to your daughter, leaf comes from where? Where? What type of tree? You can't go and give Lord Sri Krishna bakain leaves, bakain leaves, not tasty. You take a beautiful vegetable, nice beautiful vegetable, any plant which is vegetable, cook that vegetable. I hope your daughter is listening, Alright? Beautiful vegetable, and offer it to the Lord, and he'll accept it with devotion if you hand it over to him with devotion. Indirectly, God is telling you, Rishi, explain to your daughter when you go home, that those devoted to the Lord must eat vegetable, eat fruit, and drink water. What Lord Sri Krishna is saying? Eat vegetables, eat fruit, drink. How simple. Alright? How? Simple. And I hope in this Navaratri, Rishi, I hope in this Navaratri you can have a family meeting with your children and tell them what Lord Sri Krishna has stated. Alright? Poor Rishi came to put floor tiles in this ashram. And he has got hanged. Hanged, Rishi Bhai. Next lifetime, if you meet a guru somewhere and floor tiles, if you're in the same business, run for your life. Jai Shri Narayan.
Jai Shri Narayan.